Okay, guys, I'm back. I had to split it up in two because it was going to be too long to bring it all together. But let's keep it rolling. Category number 3 is be supportive, dependable, and consistent. And the number one thing in that, which is I think we're at number 11 now, is going to be praise good behavior and acknowledge people's efforts. Sometimes we can get so bogged down on focusing energy on, oh, this person didn't do this and person didn't do that. There's a great book called The Compound Effect where a guy, what he did, he wrote one positive thing about his wife every day for a year for a gift. And by him just doing that, it was supposed to be a gift for her, he started seeing her positively because he focused on the positive, and their marriage got better at the end of that year just by him treating her better because his view of her got better. So just really acknowledging those things. You guys understand also, dismissive avoidance didn't get a lot of that love. They didn't get that person that those caregivers that said good job and you or unless it was something that they did, but they didn't get that worthiness and love by little actions. And a lot of the dismissive avoidance really don't take credit for the small things they do that other people may think is amazing. So truly understanding that component and being appreciative, and it should be in any relationship, but dismissive avoidance is needed almost desperately. But you know what? Also, it's just being open about your own flaws. By doing that, you're also being supportive because you're leaving. This could have been probably put into the create space category, but by doing that, make that person realize that you're not perfect, which gives them opportunity to show that they're not perfect also. All right, things you got to be aware of though. Sometimes dismissive avoidance will use those flaws that you have against you later on, or they'll say it in situations. And usually it's when they're kind of feel like they're being criticized, and they might go back and correct you, or if they feel like this is getting it's too much intimacy, too close to provide more space, they'll maybe use that up. So again, don't take it personally because they're not doing it out of ill will. It's the subconscious kind of trying to protect them and kind of create space. Also, being supportive also is compromise. And so a lot of dismissive avoidants don't really understand about compromise because again, they were so on their own and they feel like if they're giving up something that they're losing. But by rephrasing it and open up about perspectives about how both people are not getting exactly what they want, but at the end of the day, the basic needs of what you need, each person's boundaries are being protected, and they found a way to actually work together, then you can almost rephrase and change a dismissive avoidance perspective on what compromise is. But off the get-go, they don't really believe in compromise. They may say they do, but it's hard because it never were modeled what compromise was. It was my way or really the highway, and they just didn't have that modeling to really show them how to do those things. And the last one is going to be just validate their feelings. Because if they bring up an issue and then you completely use a communication killer or something that's going to stop them from speaking up anymore, they'll be like, this is why I don't do it in the first place. So if they open about their feelings, you acknowledge them for their efforts. Be like, you know what, I appreciate you. Thank you for willing to bring this up. I can see how that can be frustrating. Okay, and then just try to work on a solution. Again, I have a good video that talks about how to communicate through conflict. So it's really good if you really want to check that out. But yeah, it just really helps understand how to word things properly without minimizing any triggering moments. And we can also do things to validate the feelings by asking if they're okay. Now, be careful with that because sometimes if you do it too much, they're gonna start thinking that you think they may be defective. And that goes back to the whole like worthiness and I need to be perfect for people to give me love and affection. And if you find that I'm defective, then this could be problematic, okay? And the last category is gonna be patient, allow for space, and push softly. Now, push softly, what does that make sense, right? Now, dismissive avoidance, if you allow them, they'll just stay in the same zone for the rest of their life because it's what's comfortable for them. But if you want things to progress, you're gonna have to put in, which is gonna be the first one of this category, periodical check-ins. Now you need to, because if you catch a dismissive avoidant off guard and you ask them to express their emotions or something long-term and they weren't prepared for it, they're gonna start to shut down almost immediately. But if you give them heads up, like, hey, even like, hey, how do you feel about us? And you start to see what's going on, but you know, let's check up every month. How's a month coming in? Or Every week we talk about how we feel about what's going on with the situation and try to find out what works for you. I mean, it may be a little further off if it's early on, but as time progresses, it could be a more regular and more frequent thing. All right, number 2. All right, don't take rejection and space personally. And they're kind of like two hand in hand, right? You got to understand everybody is born with the fear of abandonment. And so when a person says they need space, a lot of people say, oh, space, that means we're breaking up. No, dismissive avoidance, they just really need space. But they also need a follow-up point. Hey, I see you need space, it's fine, go forward from there. But don't personalize it, because it's not you. It's them needing time to kind of comprehend and impress. And so asking, and at least number 3, asking them to verbalize that they need space. Because sometimes they won't even tell you I need space. You won't hear from them, or they'll just, I'll see you in 5 days. And so by telling them, hey, it's okay if you need space, I'm okay with that. Just let me know you need space and when's a good time for me to follow up with you and go from there. If you give them that, okay, cool, yeah, 3 days, I just need some time to myself, and go from there. So, okay, cool, and then follow your parameters from that regard. All right, so offer alone time. So the thing is, sometimes you can kind of start to gauge when a person's starting to feel like they're about to shut down. So offering alone time ahead of time, say, hey, you know what, why not this weekend you kind of just chill? I mean, I would love to see you, but why don't you work on some things, I work on some things, and go from there. They really, really appreciate it. Now, they may say, no, I'm good, I really want to see you. That's positive, right? But at least offer it to give them a kind of a way out, definitely in the beginning, because sometimes they don't even feel like they can, because if they start to like you, and they don't want to push you away by saying these things, but by giving them a heads up that it's okay, then they'll feel more comfortable to even verbalize it with you down the road. But when you give them space, which is going to the next one, try not to interrupt their space. It's almost kind of annoying. If they need space, they need space for usually some type of emotional regulation. And if you're texting them and messaging them, they won't get annoyed with you and be like, you know what, you're more problem than the actual benefit. And I might just be on a permanent space over time. So give them time. I'm not saying you don't have to go completely ghost in situations, but I mean, give them time to kind of cope and figure things out. And then eventually over time, they'll start to reach back out with you on a more consistent basis, right? Now, there's no exact way, but just understanding when they need space, and they verbalize it, give them the space they need, and don't follow up or try not to truly reach out too much, and follow up when they really agree to when they're going to be following up. All right, now another thing is, next one is going to be if they check out. Like sometimes you can see them kind of glaze over. Sometimes it's almost a point where they feeling like numb, and because it's just too overwhelming, so they shut down. All right. If you start to see that, nothing you're saying at that point in time is even going in. So just give them a break and say, you know what, we can talk about this later. Let's go take a walk. Hey, you know what? Maybe I'm going. There's a lot of information that's going on. Like, hey, why don't we just go to the movies, or let's watch some TV. And so, and then we can talk about this tomorrow, the next day, or a week from now. Again, setting up a time. Again, that's key, because you want to set up a time. Just like the periodic check-ins, set up a time when you're going to follow up, because if you don't do it, it's not going to happen. But if you give them time to kind of digest on their own time, usually you can get a good, healthy conversation. Change the mindset about asking for what you want is a bad thing, because dismissive avoidants really kind of want to be direct. They want you to tell them what's going on. But also sometimes people feel like they're dating a dismissive avoidant. It's like, oh, well, I don't want to influence them. I want them to make their own decisions. But it's hard for that dismissive avoidant to truly make a decision if they don't know all the cards on the table. Now, if they do something they don't want to do, that's not your fault. You're letting them know on the table what's going on. They need to be able to stick to their boundaries, which dismissive avoidants are usually pretty good. But if they really start to like somebody, sometimes they may cross their own boundaries, and then they start to regret why they did what they did. But again, that's not your problem. That's actually their problem from crossing boundaries. And if you get upset about it, then you just be, hey, I'm just telling you how I feel. I mean, if you didn't want to do it, you could just let me know. All right? And so we can go forward from there. You're not obligated, but I'm going to make sure you know how I feel in the moment, so you can make sure you make the best decision involved with all the information involved. So also another one is really good about keeping space and being patient is you want to rephrase comments as requests. Instead of saying, I need you to do this and why do you do this and complaints, make it into a request, right? Like ask, hey, you think that you may be able to do this? Or in this situation, it'll make me feel better if this is this. And if you give a request, now you give them a choice to say yes or no instead of telling they're automatically wrong what they're doing. That's kind of help like kind of reshifting the focus to a positive instead of focusing on the negative, right? So how you package it. And then the last one to talk about is one problem at a time and then a period of peace. We all have a lot of things we got to work on. But if you're talking about like problem after problem after problem after problem, they're gonna start feeling like they're a failure. Dismissive avoidance is like, why I'm not even worth the situation. Why are you even talking to me? They can be in that type of mentality. So you want to do a problem at a time and appear for peace. Now, if there's big glaring things that need to be done, that's different. But like, try to work on one problem at a time in peace and help have that person kind of work on that thing. When things start to improve, once another thing gets triggered on a problem, then bring up that problem. So finding that balance is really important in with peace, right? The one thing I've got to last one to say, and this will make me a bonus, can't remember where I am with the numbers. The last one is just, guys, be patient. You have to be patient in general because with dismissive avoidance, they don't know how to be open and vulnerable and work with somebody else at that deep, intimate level. So they'll be like a 3 steps forward, and then they'll do 2 steps back. They may go 5 steps forward and 3 steps back. But it's as long as you are willing to put that time in and also be consistent and be there, but you also see progression. Not like 5 steps forward and 7 steps back, and then you're going backwards. But if you see progression over time, it's gonna be like one of those little line charts where as long as it's trending up, then my perspective is continue trying if you're willing to put in the work for those situations, right? So, all right, guys, I'm trying a new spot, a new view, but the final thoughts are, I mean, any relationship is difficult, but with dismissive avoidant, you have to be very patient and very gentle with their emotions and how they feel. If you do it too fast in a way that is not a systematic approach, it can cause that person to just run away. So really just understanding that they're not bad people. I think dismissive avoidance. Okay, well, before that, like and subscribe, get it in. I did a lot of work for this. I did a lot of research. I try to get this combined. I did a lot of work. So please like and subscribe this video if you can. Like and subscribe this video, watch the part 1 video. But understand dismissive avoidants get a bad rap because a lot of people think, oh, they're cold and heartless. It's just, you gotta understand they came from an environment that wasn't modeled. But if they can get consistency showing that people love and care about them, respect them, and are willing to work with them, then what happens is over time, they can trust you. Again, the older a dismissive avoidant is, the harder it is to really start to trust because they've been in that system of alone even in a longer period of time. So, but anyways, again, as I end all my calls, and again, dismissive avoidance probably wouldn't be even here if this was done to all children, but tell your kids you love them. Tell them that they're amazing no matter what they do on a consistent basis. They need to hear it. And you know what? And slow down, give them a hug. I mean, we get so busy and trapped up all these things and worrying about what's going on in the past and what we're going to do the next week. But be present with that child and give them a hug and tell them you love them. They need it desperately. So looking forward to doing the same thing. It won't be as involved with anxious preoccupied because it doesn't seem as like that as complicated. But I hope this is beneficial, and please don't shoot the messenger. I am actually born as a dismissive avoidant, so this is probably a little bit why I know a little bit more in depth what this one is, but let me know in the comments if this is beneficial, if it's added value. And then again, thank you, my friend from the UK for this question, because I think it'll add a value to so many people. So until next time, see you when I see you.